Okay, so I think we're ready to get started then as far as with the presentation. And as you know, your presenter tonight's past District Governor Carey McKnight from the New Freedom Lions Club. In addition to being one of our past district governors, Carey is currently both the district and the state LCIF coordinator. He's been both president and secretary for his club in New Freedom, and as sort of our resident district expert, especially on service reporting. So with that, Carey, it's all yours. And again, I'm going to mute everybody right now. So if you want to speak, you'll have to turn yourself on. Carey, I'm going to have to unmute you though.
Okay.
I hit mute all, but not everybody. Okay. Okay. I think I've got everybody muted except Carey and me. And if you need to say something, just raise your hand. Okay, Carey.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We're going to be formal with this. If you have something to ask or a comment to make, please go right ahead. We're open to hints and suggestions. As Dennis said, I was secretary of New Freedom for several years. I've taught the secretary training class many times, along with attending them in district and the state. So don't hesitate to ask. We have just going to touch base on some items, some basic secretary skills, some things maybe you haven't thought of. We've have secretaries here that probably range in service anywhere from close to 20 years to 6 weeks. So we can all learn something as we go along on a little trip down with secretary training. If you want to contact me later after the program, there is my email address and home phone number. That's a 0 on the end if you can't see it. It's klm52@aol.com. More than happy. If you would like, come to my house. We'll sit at the kitchen table, get the laptop, and go over things with you if you'd rather do some things that way. We've done that many times for my Lions. So don't hesitate or be bashful about asking for help with that. The Lions mission statement, this is part of the reason why we're secretaries, is to empower volunteers to serve their communities, meet humanitarian needs, encourage peace, and promote international understanding through Lions clubs. That's our goal as secretaries, to help our club reach those goals. Some of the subjects we're covering tonight: your responsibilities as a secretary, things you do during meetings, the minutes. I don't know if you're aware, but there's many different types of memberships, and we will go over those and define them. The files, where do you keep them? What do you keep? Where do you keep them? Filing membership reports on MyLCI. Service reporting on MyLion. Who is the club administrator? Filling out a roster, ordering supplies, and yes, it's also your job to order awards for your club members. These are some of the resources I'll be using. The Lions Learning Center, which is located on MyLCI. The club's secretary ebook, which is on lionsclubs.org website. And Lions University, lionsuniversity.org, And there is also training, secretary training on YouTube. You can just do a search on there. I found a really good one from North Dakota a couple months ago. So there's just different places you can look, things I'm referring to. There is your club secretary ebook. That's available online, like I say, on MyLCI. It's only 14 pages. You can easily print that out, stick it in a notebook, and refer to it as necessary. It is an excellent source of being a secretary for your Lions Club. Some of the slides in the beginning I'm using, I borrowed from Lions University because it is an excellent source of this sort of information. So obviously you are the person. You're the go-between between the club, District 14C, and Lions International. You will receive communications from these sources that no other member of your club receives. You're to file all official reports, and many of these we will be getting into a little later on. The monthly membership report, we'll show you how to do that if you haven't done it. Your monthly service activities report on My Line, we'll touch on that. And your monthly meeting minutes. You're to keep members informed. That usually can be through, now we do it through email. I remember a day there wasn't much communication with members. If you wanted them to know something, you had that old thing, sit on the counter with a wheel on it and spin it around and call each member to let them know what's going on. Luckily, we're past that time. So you need to keep your members informed. And you are also a member of District Governor Tom's Advisory Committee, more commonly known as a zone meeting, usually held 4 times a year. Yourself, your club president, and really any other member of your club that would like to attend can go to these zone meetings, usually held within 3 weeks after the district cabinet meeting. That is a good source of information of what's going on currently and in the future in Lions. You'll need to go to all the club and board of directors meeting, and there are clubs that are classified with the IRS as a foundation. So those clubs not only have a club meeting, a club board of directors meeting, but also a foundation meeting. Usually the board of directors and the foundation meeting are at the same time. Those are for 501c3, so they're known as a foundation. We're going to talk a little later on about you, your club president, and agendas. That could be a touchy subject at times, but we'll talk about that. Record all meeting minutes. I believe when they say here record, I think they mean write it down, such as a recording secretary. Well, that's true. But I see nothing wrong at all with taking out your cell phone. I had a cell phone laying around here somewhere, but everybody knows what a cell phone looks. There it is. Taking your cell phone out and having a record app. I did that as when I was the district secretary. I not only had my cell phone on record right beside the podium, but I had my tablet on record in another part of the hall, wherever we were, because I didn't want to miss anything. It's very easy to do. You could be in a room that has bad acoustics, so this will help you pick things up. You're to respond to club correspondence, and you need to do that very quickly and very professionally. And complete and file all reports to LCI. They're very limited now in what you have to file, but that's one of your responsibilities. and working with the club treasurer to make sure the IRS Form 990 is filed electronically. That's up to you and your club treasurer, how deep you want to get into that. I think most clubs, the treasurer handles that. And then if it's the conclusion of your year as secretary, not only transfer all records to your successor, but just as important, if not more so, to mentor and help your successor make that change, because they're going to need help too. We mentioned Zoom meetings with the club president, work with the treasurer to issue semi-annual dues. That was always in the Constitution and bylaws, that when members paid their dues, they were paid to the secretary. They recorded it and then gave the money to the treasurer. I'm not sure how much of that is done anymore. I know my club stopped it many years ago. It was designed to have two pair of hands, two pair of eyes when dues are paid, but it's not anymore. And it's just more for you to do. You're more of a middleman, and I think it's perfectly all right to just let the club treasurer handle all that. Submit new member information to MyLCI. We'll touch that a little later on too. And you might be asked to help the club webmaster to update the website. You could also put Facebook in there too. I love these Lions Club websites where they have a picture of the new club officers from 2001. You need to update those things. So maybe you don't have to do it, but if you have a club webmaster, just sort of put the bug in their ear that things need to be updated regularly on your club webpage. And you will be asked to order club supplies and awards, and that will come from the Lions store on MyLCI. You're also going to be asked to update the club officers for the next year after your election. Normally, elections start somewhere in mid-April, and we're asking you to have the new officers listed on MyLCI no later than May the 15th. Meeting duties. It's great if you could provide advance notice. Send out an email to everybody. It could be done shortly after your last meeting. Some secretaries send an email with the club minutes within a day or two of the last meeting with a reminder of the date, the place, and the time. And then again, there's some that wait till a few days before to do that as a reminder. I think each of those is equally successful. And today we're usually sending the minutes of the previous meeting along, of course, the treasurer's report, the agenda, that you can all send beforehand by email, makes it more efficient. Help the club president create a meeting agenda. I've heard this both ways. The club president create the agenda, the club secretary creates the agenda. I think it's a collaboration between the two, putting it together. Sometimes club presidents just really aren't all that administrative. You could have a president like that he really doesn't want to sit down and put things together. So it may fall in your laptop to put the agenda together. I've seen presidents like, no, I'm doing this. I know what's going on in my club, and I'm going to lead and direct my club, and creating the agenda is the way I will do it. And then again, there's other ones, they just completely shy away from it. So basically, I look at it as it's up to your club, it's up to your president and secretary, and how you do it, that lines year. It may change year to year. And any mails or emails you get from someone that is meant for a committee chairperson, please pass that on as quickly as possible. Don't just let it lay there in your box or your save box. Send it out and pass it on. Right. More meeting duties is attendance. Now,
Okay, somehow it looks like we lost Carrie. I don't know if he realizes that or not, but I'm going to send him a text message real quick here.
are we back on?
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you'll have to redo your screen sharing, Carrie.
All right, I got to get back to my screen that I want. Can you see it?
Whoop,
Can you see it, Dennis?
Not yet, Carrie. Here it comes. It's coming up now. Yeah, taking attendance. You were just starting to talk about
Right.
take attendance
Yeah.
when you left us.
Right. Yeah, I lost the views first of the attendees. So as far as taking your attendance, you can do it if you want. If you give out like little pins at the end of the year for 100% attendance, I mean, that's great. But another reason I think it's good for taking attendance is that if you have a vote and somebody is, let's just say, disputing how it went or didn't agree with it, and I've seen this happen, it may be a week later, somebody's really complaining about how maybe we didn't discuss this or we didn't vote on it, and I've seen it personally, like, you weren't even there. You didn't, how do you know it didn't go the way it should have? Because you were not in attendance. And I can tell you it was done correctly. You're going to want to keep the name and the title of any guest, of any visitors. And I've seen it happen before where you want to contact perhaps a speaker that you had a year or two ago. Maybe, for some reason you'd like to have, you should have their name, maybe their address or cell phone number or email of everybody that comes in and visits. Of course, you're going to record the minutes. We talked about collecting dues. We talked about information from committee chairs, your attendance log. New member kits. It's a good idea to be prepared. Have a couple new member kits available. You order them from the LCI store. It is something you can order from the store that has no shipping charges to it. I don't think they'll allow you to order a dozen at a time, but you may be able to order a couple and have those in stock, because you never know when somebody walks in and, geez, they want to join. So have at least a couple new member kits available. Okay. Dennis, I'm not getting a forward button here. I'm going to have to back out of screen share for a moment. Oh my God, I'm getting good at this. That scares me.
Yep, you're good to go.
Yep. I had it on twice because we had that break in there. So for meeting minutes, it's pretty basic. You're going to record your the type of meeting, is it a regular meeting, board meeting, so on, the date, the place, who is the person that's hosting the meeting, the time it started, the time here, Anybody that makes a motion, you should write down their first and last name. I used to do a habit of, like, let's just say, R. Smith. Well, sure enough, we got another member was R. Smith. So it's just good practice to get into to record the first and last name of anybody that makes a motion for a second. Now, you're only going to record the motion. The debates and discussion, they say, are not recorded. I would say if there's something important that is said, yes, put it in there, but you don't need to have so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that, the whole discussion back and forth. Just do the highlights of it. And your minutes are a permanent legal record. Be sure you back them up. And our club has folders, ring binders dating back to 1933. So everything is on hand in a closet. If you have a place to keep it, that's great. If not, it may end up in the secretary's closet until the next secretary comes along. Your permanent files, what are like that? Well, of course, your charter, your constitution and bylaws. And by the way, your constitution and bylaws can be found on MyLCI. And yes, you can alter them to fit your club if you like, but the standard basic constitution and bylaws is on MyLCI. You can search for that. The club history, all minutes, your financial reports, your IRS forms, basically anything you keep, including your roster, should be kept as a permanent file. Of Lions functions and events that are happening. Let them know when you're having your chicken barbecue. Sometimes they might forget. They might not know what the event is. And how about if a neighboring club that you want to support, if they have an event or a fundraiser? They say there's no better customer than another Lion. District events such as a cabinet meeting, training, convention, multiple district events, which would there again be the Pennsylvania Lions Convention. It could be the leadership symposium that they have twice a year. The Beacon Lodge, where they have Lions Appreciation Day, which was just canceled this week. And then there's also what we call regional and LCI leadership institutes. The regional institute is more commonly known as RLLI, Regional Lions Leadership Institute. That's held once a year, usually in Harrisburg, spans over a 3-day weekend. We usually, from our district, have anywhere from 4 to 6 people attend. It's a great learning experience with other Lions from throughout Pennsylvania. And then there's the USA Canada Leadership Forum. If you go online to lionsuniversity.com, this what you're seeing now is the sort of thing you'll see on these recorded webinars on all the different classes. There's probably 60 different classes that Lions University has available. Now, the USA Canada Leadership Forum, which is part of Lions University, is held once a year, usually mid-September, somewhere in the United States or Canada. This year, it was scheduled for Louisville, Kentucky. Many of us had our flights booked, hotel rooms booked, ready to go, and it was, of course, canceled. However, there's going to be a USA Canada Forum virtual forum, and that's going to be held on September September 25th, 26th, 27th. You can sit right in the chair you're in right now, and for $20, you'll get about 20 classes spread over 3 days, and it's going to be about 3 hours per day. So if there's a class going on you don't like, you can leave for an hour or so and then come back for the next one. It's $20. Sit right at home and get all this learning from lions that know what they're teaching. You want to participate, if possible, if you could, in the International Convention course held all over the world once a year, and this one in Singapore, there again, was also canceled. Now, there's also LCI webinars, and they're excellent. They're having many more of those over, since in 2020 started. I participate in 1 or 2 a week. I have another one coming up, I think, on Friday, tomorrow. And then Lions University also has webinars. Managing correspondence. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit.
Carrie, may I interrupt you for just a second?
So, sure.
Nancy Hockenberry, you're on with your phone, and if you can hear me, I accidentally hit you to mute you. I'm not sure if you're able to unmute, or hopefully you're still on. If you have a mute button on your phone, you might want to hit it and see if that unmutes, but otherwise we won't be able to get a question from you. So just give you a heads up with that and see if maybe you can undo my muting, because I can't seem to undo it. I can only ask you to unmute. Okay, go ahead, Carrie.
All right. So correspondence that you receive as secretary is, of course, one of your responsibilities. Don't let emails lay in your inbox or your save box for an extended period of time without acting on it. So you want to read it. Let whoever in the club needs to know what was said to you promptly. And what you really should do, what I like, is once you receive it, give some sort of an acknowledgement that you did receive it. Even if it's just like, a thumbs up, or thank you very much, or looks good. Something like that, to let the person that sent it to you know that you have received it and that you've read it. I had a club president a few years ago. He asked for me to mentor him as president, and I did that until we got to a point where, he wasn't answering my email. I didn't know if he received them or not. So finally he did, I'd say, call me, and I wouldn't get a call. So I advised him, if you want me to mentor you, you better answer your emails, So, or I have other things to do. Don't waste my time. I call it just good manners doing that, is to let them know that you received their email or their letter. File carefully. Keep things where you can easily grab hold of them. You know where they are. I'm not really sure what a correspondence in and out is, but whatever works, that's fine with me. That's good. I have drawers here. If I'm finished with it, I put it in a certain drawer. Whatever's on the top is the most recent. Whatever's on the bottom was the early part of the year. And after the year, I move it to a different drawer somewhere so I don't get too much piled up. You should always try, we repeat, to answer letters and emails as soon as possible. I was taught that if you have to send a thank you note, let's say there's a businessman in town that really helped your Lions Club with something, Perhaps he made a donation. Let him use his parking lot for some sort of an event, or to sell chicken barbecues. Or someone came to visit your club and gave an excellent presentation. A thank you card that is signed by your name, that's nice. It's good that you thought of it. What I was taught was write out your thank you. Explain why you appreciate what they said or what they did. You write out the envelope and put a stamp on it. You really put your time and your heart into thanking this person, and it could come back to help you much later on. Because I can send a thank you email in about 30 seconds. That's simple. But to take the time, you go to the dollar store, you buy 10 blank thank you cards for $1 and write it out by hand. I don't care what your handwriting looks like, but write it out by hand in the envelope and put a stamp on. You just went the extra mile. You made the extra effort to appreciate what that person or that citizen of your community did for you. Back to correspondence. Failure to answer correspondence and not knowing where to find it, or a couple of major mistakes made by some secretaries. And yes, it can cost your organization money. If you miss deadlines, let's say something that needed to be paid by a certain date, that can cost you money. I know of clubs that missed the IRS deadline for filing. They lost their nonprofit status, and it was a chore. It was a lot of work to get that back. So it's much easier to do it right away than correct mistakes that may be made later on. Dennis, do we have any questions or comments right now? Because we will be stopping periodically if you'd like. If there's no questions or comments, we'll move on.
Yeah, I don't have any hands raised right now. Again,
Perfect.
folks, if you want to ask a question, they're at the bottom of your, if you have your participant list up, if you click on participant list, I think you should be able to raise your hand if you have a question. Or if you just want to unmute yourself and ask it, go ahead.
Absolutely. Or if you know of a better way, or then I'm totally wrong, tell me. This is a group effort here. And we're going to stop a couple more times after each section, just so we don't get too far ahead of someone.
Carrie, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This is Shirley. Will we be able to print your PowerPoint presentation?
What I can do is, if you'd like to have it, shoot me an email. I have it on Google Drive slides, and I can email it to you, and you have the whole thing. Not the narration part, but you'll have all the slides.
Okay.
And of course, Dennis, we're attempting to record it also, but I'll be more than happy to share the slides with you. Just send me an email to klm52@aol.com, and you'll have them tomorrow.
Thank you.
Carrie, also, I have everybody's email address, so I could just send that list to you if you want to shoot it out to everybody.
Okay, I can email it to you, Dennis, and then you can share it. How's that?
Okay, that'll be fine. We'll do it that way. Then everybody's got it if they want it.
Right. Okay. So we'll move on now. I am working. We're going to do some LCI and some MyLine here very soon. I'm working on a laptop PC, tablet, and phone. It will work, but I've had a little more difficulty with it, getting it to operate the way I want it to operate. So tonight I'm using the PC, and I have taken screenshots of everything I do. And the reason for that, than doing it live, is I already had it pop up twice, unstable internet connection. And I think that's why I was dropped here a little while ago. So rather than try to do it live, we're going to show you how to do it step by step, my LCI, my Lion, and then of course you can refer back to the slides if you want to see more of it. What's a club administrator? It's someone that's appointed, can be appointed or voted on by the club to assist the secretary with the role of reporting membership and reporting service on my LCI and my Lion. I'm the club administrator for my club. I'm not a member of the board of directors. I'm just there to help the secretary or the president report or navigate my LCI and my Lion. That's the role of club administrator. It was just added a few years ago, and it's been a big help to some clubs. This is the magic access and report to my LCI and my Lion. Of course, the president, the secretary, if you have a global service team coordinator at your club, club administrator, the district administrator can help you out. And there's also the multiple district or the Pennsylvania global service team coordinator. He can help you, but he will not go in to either of the websites and add or edit or change anything. The reason being, he has like 673 clubs. So he doesn't have the time or the capability to do it for each club. So basically, if you're the club president or club secretary, look to your club administrator first. And that normally the person that's chosen for that does have some experience with technology, or at least has experience with the two Lions websites and can help with that. Hopefully you've seen this before. This is your Lion account. If you don't have a Lion account, you'll need to register to receive one. You'll need your email address and a password. You'll need to make sure your email address is the one that is listed under your membership information on my LCI. That is the biggest sticking point of people that are trying to register and can't get in because maybe they have 2 or 3 email addresses and they're using one. So make sure you're using the correct one for that. First thing to do to access your Lion account is to click sign in. You may not have seen this screen. This is new as of about a week ago. It replaces the old portal screen. And you'll see there's my Lion, my LCI, insights, learn, and shop. The insights you may not have any interest in. It's metrics and numbers and graphs and percentages. The learn is for Lions Learning Center. They have many classes on there that you can get into and take the classes and learn about different subjects, including secretary. And then the one at the far right is the Lion Store. That's where you can get your awards and supplies and things. My Lion is the first one, and my LCI is the second block. We're going to start with my LCI. We'll click on my LCI. And what I want to do is show you membership reporting. So to do that, you'll click on My Lions Club. Now I'll give you a drop-down box. Then click on Members. And that'll take you to the next screen. Now there's the first couple members in my club right there. So you have their address, how long they've been aligned, who the sponsor was. Give you, and that most importantly probably is their member number. I get asked so often for member numbers for different projects. Well, the member number is right beside their name. Every line has a member number. If you want to add a member, which we hope you will do this year, you see the red arrow on the left, you'll click on add a member or add member. That will take you to this screen. Not difficult. Fill in the boxes. If you can't fill in a box, I mean, yes, you'll need the name and the join date, member type, that sort of thing. But if you don't have a nickname or an occupation or a date of birth, that doesn't matter. Just go ahead, fill out what you can, and then submit that information to add a member. For your monthly membership reporting, you'll click the long box on the right at the red arrow. Now, little hint, if you add a member, let's just say we added a member today to your club, you just reported for the month. There's nothing else you have to do. If you drop a member, you're reported for August of 2020. If we get to the end of August and you've had no additions, no drops, you'll click on report no changes for the month. Click there, it'll take you to this screen. It's your club, report no member transaction. Year 2020, August. All you need to do is click report. Here's the next screen that pops up. You see the June 2020 is crossed out. July 2020 is crossed because you reported for those 2 months. And if you just reported August, that'll have a line through it also.
Carrie, just a quick note. When you're switching your screens, it does have a bit of delay and takes a little time to transition from one. So just give it a second to transition from screen to screen.
Will do. So to report member changes, add, drop, or report no changes for the month. That's all you have to do for your membership reporting. If you want to edit a member, such as this Patrick Barry changed his address, and our secretary had to go in there and edit member information, change his address, maybe gets a new cell phone number or new email address. That's how you handle that. So you just click on edit member, the boxes will come up. I didn't put a screen on for that, but you can make your changes, right there. Any questions on my LCI?
Just go ahead and unmute yourself, folks, if you want to ask a question. Brenda, you have to unmute yourself.
What happens if you miss a month that you didn't report and it's like the blank? How do you go back and report no change?
I don't know. I'll be very honest. Because I always did it. So
I didn't think I missed a month, but it's blank, so I must have.
Not sure, Patty. We'll find, all right, Brenda, we'll find an answer for you.
Okay.
Okay, if you missed a month, I shouldn't say it that way, should I? If you missed reporting, we'll find an answer for you by tomorrow. It's not a
One
big
thing I
deal.
know, Carrie,
What's that?
if it's a no report, I'm not sure how you do that, but if you have if it's a August now and you had a member that joined in July and you didn't report it in July and you didn't do a report for July, if you put that member in for July, I think it updates and says that you reported then for July.
It does. It will do that. But I think she's referring to not reporting for a month.
Yeah.
How do you go back and do it? There may be somebody there that's on tonight that knows how to do it. You're more than welcome to chime in and tell us. But Yeah, Brendan, I'm sorry, I don't know. I never had that. But
That's
we'll find
okay.
out. All right.
Nancy,
Okay.
I see that Nancy Hockenberry, I see that you got yourself unmuted. Did you have a question?
No, but I had the same situation the lady who was speaking did. It dropped. If you click on that button, it'll drop down a couple months there, and like where Carrie showed it had lines through it, that will be blank, and you can click on that month and go back in and report.
Sounds good. No, Brenda, the auditors won't come down on you. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
I want to touch on one other subject while we're on this screen where it says edit member. If you drop a member, that's the next box down. And I'm gonna have to move my pictures here because I was covering it up. So to edit member information, edit member, you drop a member, they're gonna ask you the date and the reason. To create a family unit. That's if there is up to 5 people living in a household that want to be members of a Lions Club. The first person will be called the head of household. They will pay the regular dues rate for Lions International, which currently is $43 a year, $21.50 every 6 months. However, the other members of the household, international dues are 50% off for like I say, for up to 4 more members other than the head of household. So if you do have, let's just say a husband and wife that are in the same club, you might want to double check to make sure that their family unit to save them and your club money. And you can go back and change it. It's retroactive. It won't go back, years, but it will change it in the future for a family unit.
Carrie,
And then,
Carrie,
yes,
I want to
yes.
clarify one thing with that family unit dues structure also. That reduced dues, that half dues only applies to the international dues. It does not
Right.
apply to the state dues or the district dues.
No,
So
it's only your LCI membership dues, the $43 a year.
right. So when when you as a club are deciding what your dues are going to be, don't automatically assume that you should just cut a half across the board in half. You can if you want, and if your club can afford that, but you do run the risk of not of cutting your administration funds and not having enough to cover, depending on how close those funds are. So just be aware that only the internationals are cut in half. Thank you.
The next box says view history. That is the Lions history of that member in your club. You can click on there. I don't have a picture of it, unfortunately. But it will give you, the first thing it'll tell you is how long they've been in your club and any other clubs they might have been a member in. Maybe they transferred. They might have been a JC years ago. And at one point, Lions was accepting your years of service in the JCs, in the Lions clubs. Then there's also a box for officer history. So if you're like, well, did so-and-so ever serve as president? It'll go back to about 2006 with that sort of information. It's fairly accurate. It can miss officers, member, when you've been an officer of some sort, yeah, it can miss it. And that could have been the previous secretary's doings. It could be LCI's doing. It's hard to say. But usually if it says like so-and-so was club secretary in 2009, you can pretty well bet that that's correct if they say when it was.
Carrie, you
that's
have
a-
a question from Dan Brandt. Dan, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Wait,
Go ahead. You're good.
am I good?
Yep.
Just back on the create family unit one time. If you created a family unit, does that mean that LCI automatically, when they send a bill in however often in each month or whatever, they have made the adjustment based on the action you took there? Is that correct?
That's correct. What would happen is your club receives invoices from LCI for membership dues twice a year. So for the head of household, currently $43. The family, the other member of the family unit would be half of that. The 20, it's $21.50 a year, so it's 11 and a quarter for each of the 2 billing periods. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And even if you've both been in your Lions Club for many years, but you're not a family unit, you can do it now. You can create a family unit right now. But they won't go backwards with billing, but they'll go forward with it automatically. What they'll have on where it shows the club members on this page here, in the middle, under where, if you can see the one that says regular member, sponsor, spouse, companion, underneath of that, it'll say head of household. And they'll also want to know, how did you figure out they were a head of household? Was it through a driver's license or a marriage license or whatever, which is all kind of silly to me, but that's how you do that. That's how you create your family unit, is just clicking on that and follow the boxes. Just go through it that way. Good questions. Excellent.
Thank you.
Is your wife going to join, Dan? You can be a family unit. I didn't get a yes. Okay. We don't have any more
There's a
questions.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move forward. Now we're going to go to that lovely My Lion. Still have little issues every now and then, but it's nowhere near the condition it used to be. So and what I'm going to show you is an example of reporting one service project, a relatively simple one, but it's one service project. So we're going to go to My Lion, and that's my club right there. You're going to report past activity. So you click where the red arrow is, and you'll get the next page, and that's going to say report. I got to move my people here again. You click the red button to report that activity. You can see the boxes down below. That's pictures that our club has put on from different service projects and different things we've done under reported activities. So you click the report button, and this is what it's going to look like. At the top of the screen, you're going to see a big red asterisk. I added that in there because just to the left of the big one is a little one, little red one. When you have the red asterisk, that indicates that box on this service activity needs to be filled out in order to report. We've had issues where people say, I can't report. There's not even a report button. Well, that's because they missed one or two of the boxes with the red asterisk. Those are requirements to report. And there are going to be several boxes, and you can see they're kind of highlighted in pink as what needs to be filled out. So we'll go to the next page. and we're going to report eyeglasses, eyeglass collection. So the first ones you have is activity level. You don't fill anything out there. That's automatic for your club. Then you have activity details. Since I'm the one that is submitting the report, my name is on there. This was a single day, and you can see that there's an asterisk beside activity duration. This is a single day event. So I chose July 25th. If it's a multiple day, you'll start one day and then select another date for the end. What's the activity type? There's another asterisk. Here's where I've been having some issues, and some other lines are also. This is a drop-down box. You'll see there's a down arrow to the far right in the box. LCI, or my line, has been having issues. You click that box, it doesn't fill out. So there's only one thing to do. Walk away from it, come back a couple hours later, and try it again. They're working on trying to correct it. I did have that problem, I don't know, a week ago, where I tried to click on the service activity, what type of activity it was, and I couldn't get to service activity. I left it go. I came back the next day, and then it worked fine. So that's a little glitch right there. And believe me, that's a minor glitch based on what they had 18 months ago with things. We'll go to the next screen. You see service activity at the top. If it's something your club does regularly, you can click on yes, it's a service activity, and save information. Just makes it easier to fill out the next time you go to do a report with that service activity. Excuse me a moment. What cause does this service activity benefit? Which one of our 5 causes? Well, it's eyeglasses, so it benefits vision. So you'll select the vision because you can have childhood cancer, hunger, the environment, vision, and diabetes, those 5. So we selected the vision. Because we selected vision, I had a list of different project types that fit the vision criteria. Eyeglass, collection, and recycling is the one that fit the best. The people served. I said we collected 100 used eyeglasses, so we served 100 people. One person collected the eyeglasses. One person took 1 hour. So we just put 1 in each of those slots. And they needed to be filled out because they had the red asterisk. Under the share, that is not one that had an asterisk, but just leave it at everyone. Let everyone see it. We've just never figured out why they even have that in there, because we feel if you do service and somebody sees this, everyone should see that you did it. So under the description, collected 100 pair of eyeglasses for recycling. They want some sort of description for you to write out for what type of service that you did. The featured photo was on there because it had to deal with vision. I added the picture under photo gallery. So I clicked on the plus button that's in the middle of the box, and it came up with different pictures. And here's the nice thing is you can add your own. When we first got onto MyLine, you saw all the pictures of different events that my club has done. I could have put one of those in there also if I'd have taken the time. But it's much better to put your own picture in there if you decide to do a photo than to pick a generic one. If you have all the boxes with the asterisk filled out, you will see two other boxes. One says save, the other says report. If you don't have the asterisk boxes filled out, you won't even have them to select. So because they were all filled out, I had a report button. So we're going to go ahead and click the report button, and it has been submitted to MyLine and posted online. Any questions or comments about MyLine? Sounds good. We'll move forward. Now let's talk about membership types. This is all found on a form on MyLCI. You can search for membership types, or it is form ME105. And I'm going to show you that here in just a second.
Carrie,
This
while you're bringing that up, Dan Brandt does have his hand raised. Go ahead and unmute
Okay.
yourself, Dan.
Carrie, I'm sorry,
Yes.
but I should have asked this a little earlier. Okay, so you just submitted that project. Now, what happens in Newville is that our person collects eyeglasses, I don't know, maybe 4 times a year, because we have a couple of big mailboxes in Newville that people put them in. So the next time you report that, you just come in and do the same thing again, and LCI will recognize this as a new project. I mean, in the same, it will be the same type of project, but they will just then add this onto what you previously had. Does
Vice
that make
District
sense?
Governor Dan, I don't have an answer for you with that. I'll
Okay.
be honest, I don't know. Patty, do you know?
Patty, you'll have to unmute yourself if you want to respond. While she's doing that, I do, when you were there near the beginning of the reporting, Carrie, it had whether this was a signature project or not. And I have a feeling if you designate it as a signature project down below the first time you enter it, the next time you come in, you'll be able to access those signature projects, click on that, and most of the information will be there and you can update it. So, Patty?
Oh, when I do multiple entries for eyeglass collection, because I do it monthly, if a few months, if I go back in and just start all over and report eyeglasses, they do recognize it as a separate service activity.
So they do add them all up for you?
Well, under metrics. they'll
Okay,
have-
under
with
metrics.
an eye
Great.
all
Good.
up, yeah.
All right. That answer your question, Dan?
That does, thank you.
There you go. We all work together here. That's perfect. All right, we'll move on to membership types. This is the form of explains the different type of members we have in Lions clubs. However, the next page, we're going to take you to better description of each one. I think most of us are what we call active members. You receive all the benefits and meet the requirements of a membership. An affiliate member is someone who can't participate, doesn't qualify as an active member, but wants to support the Lions Club. I have heard of Lions Clubs in 14C that I've had members for probably 30 years and they've never shown up. but that would be an affiliate member. And we're going to talk about it on the next slide, what the benefits and what the differences are between the, as far as dues and voting go. Associate member is someone that has a membership in one Lions Club, an associate membership in a second, such as you might have a beach house in Delaware that you spend a lot of time at. Well, you can be a member of the Windsor Lions Club as an active member, and where your beach house is, where you go to Lions Club meetings in the summer, you could be an associate member there. An honorary member is someone that's not really a member of the Lions Club, excuse me, but may be granted honorary membership, having helped the Lions out with outstanding service. A life member is an interesting category. Excuse me. It's someone who has been an active member for 20 years. At least 15 years if the member has reached 80 years old, or 70 years old, I'm sorry. And life membership may also be granted to a Lion who is critically ill. I had an email last week from a husband and wife who have been in Lions much longer than 20 years. And I'm not mentioning names, but they are over 80 years old. And she asked me for the criteria of being a life member. And I explained it to her. You fill out a form and submit $650 per Lion. Then there you have no more Lions International dues, that $43 a year. That will go away. So you won't have to pay that, and your club won't have to pay it for that one-time fee if you've been a Lion basically for 20 years and over the age of 70. A member at large is someone who is unable to attend club meetings but wants to be a member of the club. Perhaps they live in town and they work all the time. You know, they work night work or something, but want to support the community. And a privileged member is a Lion who's been in at least 15 years, but for some reason must give up their active status so they can become a privileged member. Now we'll walk through who pays the dues, who doesn't pay the dues, and when they have voting privileges and where. So you can see as an active member, you'll pay club, district, and international dues. You can hold district or international office, and you can, I gotta move my little thing in here. You can be a delegate at an international or district convention. An affiliate pays all the dues, but you can hold district or international office. So in other words, an affiliate could not be a district governor or a zone chair, and they could only vote in club matters. I'm not going to worry too much about delegates. I got to move my box over there. An associate pays club dues, but no district or international. And why is that? Because they're an active member in another club, and that's where they are paid. So the only club they have to pay, the only dues they have to pay where they're an associate is club dues itself. An honorary member pays no club dues, and if they're going to be members of Lions International, the club traditionally pays the district and international dues. Life member, even though you paid $650 to Lions International, you still have to pay club and district dues along with that one-time $650 fee. Member at large, you pay all dues, and a privilege, you pay all dues. So there's many different types of club membership with advantages and maybe disadvantages to each one.
Carrie, I've got a question on that.
Sure.
Do you know, could a business be considered an associate member, or does it have to be an individual?
I don't, Dennis, I don't believe they can.
Okay,
I believe it has to be a person. It can't be a business.
okay. But you could approach a business and the owner of the business could become an associate if they wanted to support the club.
Right. You can do that, yes.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah. The one thing I believe that not many people know is that our club used to use the affiliate because we had people that wanted, there again, as it says, people that wanted to be members, wanted to be part of the club, but maybe they can only make a meeting occasionally. Sorry, but so what they would do is we would make them an affiliate because our club dues included a meal every meeting. But if you were an affiliate, you only had to pay for the meal if you came. So you had lower dues or lower club dues for being an affiliate. We had so many affiliates at one point that LCI refused to accept any more from our club. They said, you're over the 25% limit for being an affiliate. So we made them members at large after that to make up the difference. But that's not written down anywhere. I didn't know it. PDGs didn't know it. But I got an email from LCI saying you have too many affiliate members. Any further questions on the types of membership and dues structure? All righty, we'll move on. Red arrow is pointing to the shop. And that's something you'll need to do as secretary. They have lots of items. They're not inexpensive and the shipping is not inexpensive. But they do have beautiful plaques, awards, pins and other supplies, apparel, lots of shirts and jackets and sweaters and things. But as secretary, you have the capability of going in there and shopping for the club, for supplies, and having it billed to the club. So you don't have to pay for it. They'll know that you're secretary and you'll select whichever box it is that says to invoice the club. Because if you're not, the president or the secretary or the treasurer, I believe, can do that too. You have to put on a credit card and get reimbursed. So the easiest way is have the invoice billed to the club, which they would receive once a month. And there's just some of the samples of things they have available from the Lions store. Little plug, you have to have a commercial, don't we, Dennis? Lions Club International Foundation. The reason I put this in is Melvin Jones Fellowships. That's usually the secretary's duty also, is if you have a club or if your club wants to present a Melvin Jones Fellowship, it's a $1,000 donation to LCIF, and you can get your fellowship for your member. There is a form for that, which I've also have in the slide here next, that you can fill out. Or you can do it the easy way. Send an email to PDG Carey, and he can help you out with it. So that's usually something that is assigned. I had a club that actually I went to speak to them. We discussed the Melvin Jones Fellowship. The club gave me a check for $1,000 for LCIF, and then proceeded to tell the club secretary to go ahead and apply for a Melvin Jones Fellowship for himself. That didn't go over too good. So I ended up doing it for them. But I'm not saying you have to do it, but they, they'll ask you to go at least do the process of applying for the fellowship. And that's the form right there that you can fill out online. And it's on my LCI website. You can fill it out, download it, and just email it in. Or like I said, you can just email me. We want to give a Melvin Jones to line so-and-so, member number, and I can take care of it for you. Do it all the time. So don't let that make you hesitant about doing it. If you have further questions or comments, I'm going to repeat my email address, my phone number. If you want to come to the house, you're more than welcome to it. We'll sit out in the patio and at the picnic table, and maybe have some refreshments and go through whatever you want to as far as a secretary. But I'll tell you, I do have the deepest, having been one, I have the deepest respect for all secretaries, the assistant secretaries. I know what job you have, and sometimes you really don't get the thank you that you should. But a good secretary is the heart of the club. And I've even called them the mother of the club, because they look over everything, make sure it's done right. And a successful club absolutely has to have a great secretary. Any further questions or comments? I think we hit a little past 8:30, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you, Kerry. Yeah, let's go ahead, just open it up. If anybody has a question or comment and wants to, you want to unmute yourself and go ahead and just ask your question or make your comment. Let's start with Ken.
Harry, what's the last two numbers on your phone number? Because I can't see them.
It's 717-235-2790.
Thank you.
Okay, Jamie, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
I just want to say thank you. This was very informative.
You're very welcome. Anytime whatsoever. That's one of the joys of being a PDG, isn't it, Dennis?
Oh, absolutely.
Is helping people. Helping other Lions be better. That's part of leadership.
Anybody else? All right. Well, with that then, Kerry, we really appreciate your time and the effort you put into this. And
Absolutely.
All of you who tuned in tonight. Oh, Brenda, did you have something? I see you're unmuted.
No, I don't have anything, just was listening.
Oh, okay.
Very
All right.
informative.
Very good. Very good. Well, I do appreciate everybody taking time. This
It was a great turnout.
Yeah, very good turnout. And this is what we need. I really encourage you all to be on top of things. And of course you are, because you signed up for this. So I know you're dedicated to doing it. And the final word I would say is just do your best to keep your member information up to date. Maybe do the printout of the roster and all the information that you enter, and have your club members double check that to make sure that it doesn't need to be updated, like a new email address or new phone number, or
And
changes for work numbers and things like that. Kerry?
make a change on your roster. If you make a change on your roster, it's a good idea to perhaps maybe highlight in yellow the change, so that people can tell from the last roster you sent out that this is different and this is what's different. Some people don't keep a copy of the roster. It's all on their computer, so they can easily make the change. So just let them know what changes you made, so they can make the change on their computer if necessary.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Carrie, and thank you all. And I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting and hope you all have a real good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.